As the Steelers prepare for their final preseason game on Thursday night against the Carolina Panthers, there is one thing quarterback Aaron Rodgers wants out of the game. Health, said Rodgers. Everybody getting through healthy. That's the most important thing. At the time he spoke on Tuesday, Rodgers didn't say if he would be playing or not, simply stating that he will roll with whatever Coach Mike Tomlin decides. And rolling with it is something Rodgers has been doing since arriving with the Steelers. He has a personality that has brought the offense together, a four-time NFL MVP and future Hall of Famer who is just one of the guys on and off the field. It's not uncommon to see him having lunch with rookies or stretching with a defensive player before practice. He has a desire to get to know his teammates, one that is genuine and infectious. I'm just trying to be curious, not judgmental, said Rodgers, who said he feels good conditioning-wise. I've always been curious about learning and just trying to be a lifetime student. That's why I enjoy reading in all forms, whether it's audiobooks when you're in the car or reading. I like to actually have the book in my hand so I can underline or highlight or whatever. But just getting to know guys too? You've got to pay attention, and sometimes you've got to use some strategies to remember things. There are ways of connecting with guys, and I've always been interested in those dynamics. I'm just trying to be curious. On offense, it's often said everything starts up front. When it comes to Rodgers' curiosity, that is where it starts as well. The offensive line isn't a flashy position. It isn't a position where guys are always loud and boisterous. Rodgers is trying to break them a little, though. Pull some laughs out of players like center Zach Frazier and guard Isaac Simolo, who are quiet, reserved, and getting a smile out of them can be a challenge. I'm trying to be intentional every day I'm here, said Rodgers. Trying to get Zach to loosen up a little bit. Mason McCormick has been a great compadre with that because he's next to him every single day. It's fun when I get a little laugh out of Isaac and maybe a facial expression from Troy Fratanu. Broderick Jones is probably the most gregarious of the group up front. I got a laugh out Darnell Washington today, which was fun. Big wins, so small victories every day when it comes to the chemistry building stuff. Spent a lot of time talking with the receivers. A lot of text messages after hours with those guys. But that's what it's all about. Finding ways to connect with those guys. I have a built-in laugh track because I'm the old guy and I can recycle some old jokes from years past they haven't heard before. Just trying to connect to the guys every single day. The connection isn't just off the field or in the locker room with jokes. It's happening on the field, with Rodgers giving advice, tips, and everything in between to teammates, especially a young receiver like Roman Wilson who he sees a world of potential in. I think he's improving every day, said Rodgers. You can't skew the results from the details. You look at his game the other night, he made a couple splash plays. But we're going to coach him hard. His receiver coach, Art Smith, and myself on the details, because the details are what make the difference. And even though he had a couple of big plays, there's some room for improvement there. Wouldn't say anything if we just thought he was going to be a guy, just any guy that could you throw in. But I think he has a chance to be a big-time talent in the league. So we're going to hold him to a high standard. I'm really happy with him, the way he's played. But we're going to hold him to a standard of excellence that I think he's capable of reaching. While Rodgers and Wilson's relationship is growing on the field based on reps, he is also making sure his relationship with receiver Calvin Austin III is growing during a time when Austin is sidelined with an injury. Rodgers' locker is just a few from Austin's locker, so he makes sure to keep the lines of communication wide open. He sits a couple over from me, said Rodgers. So just keeping him in the conversation, keep communicating with him. Nobody is more upset about not being out there than him, so just trying to keep it positive with him as well. It's hard to be hurt any time of the year, but camp with a new quarterback and kind of building off the year he had last year. I'm sure there's some frustration, but he hadn't shown it. He's one of the happiest guys, one of my favorite guys in locker room. I'll be happy to get him back. He was out there for walkthrough today, so I threw him a couple of balls. Made sure that Oblique was feeling good, but I'm excited to get him back out. While Rodgers has yet to appear in a preseason game for the Steelers, he did work beyond the normal training camp practice when the Steelers held a joint practice with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a week ago. Rodgers saw benefits from the practice, giving the offense different looks from what they were seeing on a daily basis from their own defense in training camp. I thought it was good for us to get some work in, said Rodgers. I felt like there's a lot of film to correct. Failure is always best this time of year to learn from and to be able to let the coaches go through it or let Art Smith go through it. I thought we started practice really well in the 7 shots. Then they kind of got after us in the team run with very correctable things. I felt we got after them pretty good in the 3rd down periods. We had a chance in 2-minute with a couple of opportunities and went 4 and out. But good film to work on. The thing I loved is there weren't fans there, so they felt comfortable bringing a lot of different pressures. So, I thought it was good work for us in the protection game, especially. One aspect the offense has worked on, especially with a new quarterback, is cadence. And it's an area where Rodgers gets immense praise from his teammates. It's something he has always been known for, learning some tricks early on in his career watching a Hall of Fame quarterback up close. "I've watched Brett Favre," said Rodgers. Brett Favre had a great cadence, and so I copied the things I liked and expanded where I felt like there was room to expand, and we've been doing it for a long time. There's a rhythmic nature to it, and also a non-rhythmic nature to it that is an important aspect of it. I would say being to a new team and with new players, the focus and the ability to lock in with the cadence is some of the best I've seen for a training camp, especially being with a new group like this. We're not having pre-snap issues on the cadence, especially with long counts has been really impressive, and I got to give credit to saddlebag partner Zach Frazier up front. The Pittsburgh Steelers were linked to one of the more popular veteran free agents in recent weeks, as guard Dalton Risner is said to be considering a visit ahead of the preseason finale and Week 1. An AFC North rival is also in the mix. Free agent guard Dalton Risner, who worked out for the Cincinnati Bengals today, will also visit the Seattle Seahawks, per source. ESPN NFL insider Jeremy Fowler reported on August 19th. Visiting the Steelers is also a consideration, Fowler added. Risner wants to take multiple visits before making a decision. Although you can never have enough quality offensive linemen, Risner to the Steelers would be a bit of a surprise. Pittsburgh has had a set starting 5 on the OL since the final snap of the 2024 campaign in January, and starting left guard Isaac Seumalo is healthy again after beginning training camp with an undisclosed injury. Risner has made 82 career NFL starts, including playoffs, so don't expect him to take a backup role somewhere with that resume. The 30-year-old former second-round pick spent the past 2 seasons with the Minnesota Vikings after starting out with the Denver Broncos from 2019 through 2022. Where does Dalton Risner fit in with the Steelers? As stated above, this is kind of an odd free agent connection. Second-year right guard Mason McCormick is coming off a fairly impressive rookie season, and second-year center Zach Frazier could be a future All-Pro candidate by most assessments. Then you have Seumalo, whose current cap hit is over $10.1 million. It should be noted that the Steelers could save $7.875 million by trading or releasing Seumalo before Week 1, but that feels highly unlikely given his track record and the built-in cohesiveness on the offensive line. The final starters are 2 former first-round picks, Troy Fautanu and Broderick Jones. While Jones is generally viewed as the shakiest of the Steelers' starting offensive linemen, Risner has no starting experience at offensive tackle, so any interest in the veteran guard would seemingly be on the interior. Based on all this, the obvious question is, where does Risner fit with the Steelers? And the only plausible answer is that he doesn't, unless he's willing to sign on as a key backup. How much would a Risner signing cost? Risner has been paid a base salary right around $1.4 million over the past 2 seasons. He's also coming off a year where he missed time due to injury, so he'd likely make a similar amount or something lower than that salary. His cap hit over the past 2 seasons has been between $2.4 million and $2.65 million. The consensus appears to be that Risner would be signing on as a backup in Pittsburgh. We outlined why above, and the writers over at Steelers Depot agree. The Steelers' starting 5 offensive linemen are set entering a season for the first time in many years, but their depth is still questionable, Steelers Depot's Ross McCorkle noted on August 19th. Spencer Anderson is their backup guard, but they could stand to upgrade their depth with additional experience. The report that he is considering a visit to Pittsburgh indicates the Steelers are poking around at depth options for the offensive line, McCorkle went on, reminding. Notably, Steelers OG Isaac Seumalo has barely practiced at training camp this year as he entered on the NFI list with a soft tissue injury. Unfortunately, Risner might find a better path to starting snaps elsewhere, like with the rival Bengals in Cincinnati. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a line of visits coming up with veteran players. For starters, Pittsburgh brought wide receiver Gabe Davis in for a second time this offseason as they continue to look for another receiver to strengthen their receiving core. Now, according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, Pittsburgh is set to host veteran guard Dalton Risner. Free agent guard Dalton Risner, who worked out for the Bengals today, will also visit the Seahawks, per source, Fowler reports. He's visiting the Steelers, who are also a consideration. Wants to take multiple visits before making a decision. Risner has started 81 games in his 6-year career with the Denver Broncos and Minnesota Vikings. He started 8 games for the Vikings in 2024.